How do gargoyles prove that even the most mundane objects can become beloved myths and monsters? And a couple of questions that may help you adapt them into your world or writing. But first, today's video is brought to you by, well, you. Thanks for watching. Gargoyle. Strange word. It shares a root with the word for gargling. That might seem odd at first, but gargoyles are actually just architectural features on buildings that divert the roof rainwater runoff away from the building itself. So essentially, gargoyles are just rain gutters. What we would call gargoyles today are actually more relatable to architectural grotesques, which is basically just a fancy word for stone carvings used as building decorations. But how did that change? We can't really answer that question in absolutes, but a lot of sources point back to a 7th century French tale in which a hero goes to kill the malevolent dragon that's been terrorizing the town, and after successfully defeating the dragon, they try to burn the body, but when the neck and head won't burn, they decide to hang it on the side of a building instead. Really sends a message to the other dragons. Obviously, tales like that just beg the imagination to go just a little bit further. But are all gargoyles malevolent? Are they evil? Well, no. A lot of tales also point to things like the gargoyles of Notre Dame that supposedly come to life at night and fly around the city, protecting people and things. That basically make them more like stone scarecrows. So we have malevolent gargoyles and benevolent gargoyles. If you ask one person, they'll say that gargoyles are meant to scare people. If you ask another person, they'll say that gargoyles protect people. Today, we have a myriad of options to look at for inspiration for our gargoyles. You have the beloved Disney Channel show that depicts gargoyles as epic protectors, or the beloved Disney Channel movie that depicts gargoyles as comic relief. At the end of the day, you could go to dozens and dozens of bestiaries and writings and video games and books to find so many different descriptions of gargoyles. Everything from stone security guards to night terror demons that will swoop down from the rooftops to kill you and eat you. The world of stone-esque animate creatures really is your oyster. But what created the gargoyles in your fiction? Was it a curse? Was it intentional magic? Was it just a spirit that manifested itself in the stone? Or even just a mason that was so good at their job that their art came to life? Let's take a look at some of the common attributes of gargoyles. One thing that most of them have in common is their stony visage. Now, that's not universally true though. Like with a lot of the other things that you're hearing in this video, some gargoyles are actually stone statues that, when the sun goes down, transform into flesh and blood. Meanwhile, other gargoyles, I would argue more commonly, gargoyles are stone that can just move, or at least have a stone-like skin. With that, gargoyles will usually have many resistances to a lot of different damage types, as well as having a natural camouflage, as they're usually indistinguishable from a normal statue. What kind of stone statue? Well, today we would often think of like a vampire-esque bat humanoid creature. In history, gargoyles were a lot more versatile. They are today, too. It's just not what we see in culture. They come in all sorts of different forms. Lions, dragons, dogs, cats, humans, bats. Whatever you want your gargoyle to be, they could be that. People have been carving stone into so many different shapes over the course of history that for your writing, for your fiction, for your world, they can be whatever you want. Any sort of stone statue could be a gargoyle waiting for the right moment to strike. Okay, but can we at least pin down what category of creature we're dealing with? Again, no. Even within single game settings, there seems to be a debate. Sometimes they're elementals, sometimes they're hybrid beasts, other times people just lump them in with basic golems. So, what is a gargoyle? It depends. And I'm sure you're getting tired of hearing that in this video, but it should be a perfect example of how these things that we come to know in our culture, in our society, they usually have a longer history and a wider history than we first imagine. So while most of us, myself included, would imagine a gargoyle as that vampire-esque bat creature, why not just have the gargoyle be, I don't know, a gravestone? It's the new Mimics. Can we kill it? If it is truly 100% stone, can we just throw it in an industrial hydraulic press, hit the button, and watch it get ground to dust? What if you chuck it into an active volcano? Most importantly, if you do manage to kill it, what can you harvest from it? Is ground up gargoyle worth anything? Do its eyes carry some of the magic that made it animate in the first place? How do you prove to your guild that you did kill it? Let's take a step back. What if you just hit it hard enough that the stone cracks? If the stone does crack, if it falls off, will it bleed? Are there organs inside? If there are organs, can you poison it? If you were to sit down a gargoyle and have a drink with it, and you pulled a Wesley, would it die? Would it drink? Could you reason with it? Is it intelligent? If it is intelligent, how do you communicate with it? Can it speak? What language does it speak? Does it even age? These are the kinds of questions that we as world builders get the great privilege of answering. And the best part, it's up to you. When you adapt any of these creatures or concepts into your world, you get to pick what unique elements and cool elements make it into your story. Next time you think to yourself that your writing might be a little bit too outlandish, remember that a glorified rain gutter can become a beloved monster that's been adapted countless times throughout the ages. Thank you for watching, and remember, don't blink. Now the gargling part. This is the part that people are going to love the most. That was way too wet. All right, let's try that again.